You already know something is off. You can feel it. Your child pulls away when you try to help. They hesitate before trying anything new. They look at you for approval before they even take a single step forward. And you keep asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? Because you love them more than anything in the world. You are doing everything you think a good parent should do. You are showing up, you are present, you are trying, but something is still not working. And that feeling, that quiet, nagging sense that you might be missing something important, that is exactly why you need to hear this right now. Here is what nobody is telling parents. There is one habit, one specific thing that loving, well-meaning, deeply devoted parents do every single day that is slowly, silently chipping away at their child's confidence from the inside out. And the terrifying part is that most parents never find out about it until the damage has already been done. Not because they were bad parents, but because this habit looks like love. It feels like love. And in your mind, it is love. That is what makes it so dangerous. Before we go any further, if you are someone who is serious about making a real change in how you show up for your child, we have a program linked in the description below this video. Parents who have gone through it have seen dramatic shifts in their child's behavior, self-esteem, and emotional resilience in a matter of weeks. This is not for parents who are content with just getting by. This is for the parent who refuses to let their child grow up feeling small. Spots are going away fast, and if you are the kind of parent who says, I will look into that later, this message is specifically for you. Because later has a way of never arriving. Now let's get into this. Picture this moment. Your child is trying to tie their shoes. They are struggling. Their little fingers are fumbling with the laces. They are getting frustrated. And you, because you love them and because you are running late and because watching them struggle physically hurts you, you reach over and you tie the shoes for them. Done. Problem solved. You both move on. That moment, that exact moment, that is the habit. And it is happening dozens of times a day in dozens of different ways across millions of families around the world. Child psychologists and developmental researchers have spent decades studying what actually builds a child's confidence. And what they have consistently found is not what most parents expect. Confidence is not built through praise. It is not built through encouragement. It is not built through telling your child they are amazing and special and capable. Confidence is built through struggle. It is built through the experience of facing something hard, pushing through the discomfort, and coming out the other side having figured it out. That internal experience of I did it is the single most powerful confidence-building event in a child's entire development. And here is where the habit comes in. When you step in and solve the problem for your child before they have had the chance to wrestle with it, you are not just tying their shoes. You are sending them a message that they do not even know they are receiving. That message, absorbed silently and repeatedly over years, sounds like this inside their mind: I needed help, which means I could not do it. Which means I am not capable. Which means next time I should wait for someone else to handle it. That is not what you are trying to communicate. That is not anywhere near what you feel in your heart. But that is what is landing. Stop for a second. Think about the children you have seen who seem genuinely confident, not arrogant, not showy, but deeply, quietly sure of themselves. The ones who try new things without melting down. The ones who handle setbacks without completely falling apart. What is different about them? Almost without exception, those children were allowed to fail safely. They were allowed to struggle in an environment where someone was present but not intervening. They had parents who understood that discomfort is not danger. Now let's talk about what this pattern actually looks like in real life, because it goes so far beyond tying shoes. It is doing the homework problem when your child says it is too hard. It is handling the conflict with the other child at school because your child came home upset. It is making the phone call they could have made themselves. It is fixing the drawing they were about to crumple. It is finishing the sentence when they are searching for the word. It is jumping in, always jumping in, because watching them struggle feels like you are failing them. But you are not failing them by watching them struggle. You are failing them by not letting them. Here is what that pattern looks like 5-10 years down the road. And this is the part that needs to land. The child who is always rescued grows into someone who hits a hard moment and immediately looks for someone else to solve it. They get to a point in school, in a friendship, in a goal they are chasing, where it gets difficult, and instead of pushing through, they stop. They either ask for help before they have even tried, or they quietly give up and tell themselves they just are not good at that thing. And the worst part, the part that breaks parents when they finally connect the dots, is that their child does not know it is happening. They are not thinking about confidence. They are just living out the story they were taught about themselves without even realizing they were taught it. Parents who shifted this one habit reported in study after study that within just a few weeks, their children were attempting more challenging tasks independently. They were displaying greater emotional regulation during frustration. They were recovering from setbacks faster. One research group found that children who experienced what they called supported struggle, meaning a parent was emotionally present but not physically solving the problem, scored significantly higher on long-term self-efficacy measures than children who were given consistent immediate assistance. That is not a small difference. That is the difference between a child who believes they can and a child who quietly suspects they cannot. Now here is where this gets personal again. You did not create this habit on purpose. You created it because you felt pain when your child felt pain. You created it because society told you that a good parent removes obstacles. You created it because you were probably parented this way yourself. And breaking a pattern that comes from love is the hardest kind of pattern to break, because every instinct you have is telling you that stepping in is the loving thing. It is not anymore. The most loving thing you can do right now, today, is to take your hands off the problem and keep your heart fully present. Here is what that actually looks like in practice. Your child is struggling with something. Instead of jumping in, you pause. You breathe, and you say something like, "That looks really tricky. What do you think you could try?" You are not abandoning them. You are not being cold. You are physically staying there, emotionally connected, but you are handing the agency back to them. And what happens next is remarkable. Sometimes they surprise you completely and figure it out. Sometimes they fail and they feel frustrated. But then they try again. And that cycle, that try, fail, try again cycle, is where confidence is literally built, brick by brick, repetition by repetition. In the brain, developmental researchers have found that children who are regularly given the opportunity to problem solve independently develop stronger neural pathways associated with resilience, motivation, and self-regulation. In plain terms, the brain actually physically changes when a child learns to push through difficulty. And the opposite is also true. The brain adapts to being rescued. It learns to wait. It learns that effort is optional because relief is coming. You are literally shaping their neurology every single time this happens. Here is the pattern interrupt you need right now. The next time your child hits a wall and looks to you to solve it, your job is not to fix it. Your job is to believe in them louder than their doubt. You do not say the answer. You do not do the thing. You look them in the eyes, and your energy, your calm, your certainty communicates something they will carry for the rest of their life. You are capable of figuring this out. That shift in your parenting does not take years. It does not require overhauling your entire relationship. It does not mean you stop being warm and nurturing and involved. It means you move from rescuing to believing. And parents who make that shift describe it as one of the most profound changes they have ever made, not just for their child but for themselves. Because when you stop carrying every problem your child encounters, something happens to you too. The anxiety that comes from feeling like you have to constantly manage everything begins to lift. The exhaustion of being the solution to every struggle starts to fade. You begin to feel like a different kind of parent entirely. The cost of not making this shift is not abstract. It shows up in classrooms where capable children refuse to attempt things they have not already mastered. It shows up in friendships where a child cannot handle the friction of conflict because someone always smoothed it over for them. It shows up in adulthood when a person does not pursue what they want because deep down, at the level they cannot even articulate, they do not believe they have what it takes. And somewhere in their history, a parent who loved them fiercely never got the information they needed to do things differently. You now have that information, and if you want to go deeper, to truly transform the way you parent with a clear structure, real guidance, and the kind of support that actually creates lasting change, the program linked below this video is where you need to go right now. Not tomorrow, not after you think about it, right now. Because the parents who are seeing their children thrive emotionally, who are watching confidence grow in real time, who are no longer fighting the same battles every single week, they did not wait. They decided. And if there is any part of you that already knows your child deserves more than what you have been able to give them with what you currently know, then you already have your answer. The link is right below this video.